Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Igama AsandaNtini, and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe before we proceed with this video. Like and share this video. Anyways, about inequality in South Africa. In 2020, there was this webinar that was organized by UCT, and one of the speakers there spoke of how South Africa is one of the most, I want to find the right words that were said. South Africa is one of the most Gini coefficient, a gauge of economic inequality in the world, making it the most unequal societies. And with more than 50% live in poverty, 30% are ranked as middle class. And what exactly is middle class anyways, by the way? And 10% are living in opulence. While everywhere in the world, usually 80% of people usually live in a middle class economy and the rest are in poverty. As South Africa, everyone is in poverty, and right now we don't even know what is middle class anyways. So what causes this, in my view? The fact that after colonization we had apartheid. After that we have a pandemic of a democracy that's only kept for a certain group of people. And if you do not know or are not close to those people, you are still outside the door looking in. It's that simple. That's how South Africa and politics, and that's how society in South Africa functions. So with the three classes that I've said, the ones that are in poverty, which is us honestly, and then class and the high, and obviously the opulence or the rich people. The fact that South Africa, even in 2022, an article that was released by a report that was released by the World Bank says that inequality in Southern Africa, a report on inequality in Southern Africa, it says that Southern African Customs Union member countries of Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Namibia, and South Africa represents the world's most unequal region, though there are differences across the countries. Namibia and South Africa distinctly having higher inequality. I live in South Africa, so I do not know about Namibia, but I know that in South Africa, inequality, you see it, you feel it. It's so wild. The reason why I did this video is because I was in Durban, I went past the Durban, not CBD. Is that CBD? But Durban Market, there's this area by Russell Street and the Cathedral. That area lives, it's mostly surrounded by taxis. It's surrounded by shops that are so dirty, and I was on West Street, like one of the busiest roads in the CBD, one of the busiest roads in West Street, now known as Pixie Kaseme. I'll state the name here, but it used to be called West Street. The only thing that they do in Durban is rename streets, honestly. It's those roads, it's the shops there, this is in town, central town, where I was there because I was going to take a taxi, go back home. It's dirty, it's the shops, you can see that even inspectors don't even come here to check on if there are inspectors in South Africa anyways. They don't even come and check ukuthi, are these places giving people food that is okay for the livelihood, for them to have a proper lives and healthy lives. The buildings are not well maintained. There are broken windows in buildings that have people living in them in town, not I don't know where. But when I was looking at that, and then I looked in the same town at Point, I was there the following week at Point, near that beach that's very clean and very different than the rest of the Durban beaches. And I was like, look at how unequal South Africa is. Somebody who's only been there at the market side where I'm saying it's very dirty. It's not just dirty, it's not well maintained. You can see that if there are cleanups by municipalities, they're no longer allowed. If there's this and that, not no longer allowed, they hardly do anything because they don't care. Like, it's not a priority to them. Versus the people that they care about don't really live there or don't really make use of those buildings. Maybe they own the buildings but no longer live there. And then again, we were at Ushaka and went to the Point side. We took a walk to the Point side. And I saw one of the homeless guys, and then the security chases him away. And he says he must move because they are not allowed this side. I'm like, so where exactly are they allowed? It's no, they're allowed at the market side. That's where police don't go and check or do anything. So that's why they're always in the center of town or back there. Here, they're not allowed. And that's where it's clean, that's where it's properly maintained. And I was like, look at South Africa. Look at how far will it, how long will this last, that Kunendao that we know they'll continue being fine, because even though they have a country that's in democracy, but democracy and well-maintained things and things that are properly functioning are only still reserved for certain areas, and other areas are just not given those rights or privileges of ukuthi anakekelwe like the others. I really wonder how long will that last. I don't know. And then I was looking at on this thing of inequality. Unemployment rate in South Africa is, unemployment rate of the youth is at its most high. Youth are not employed, so, and we have, I think we have the generation of the most educated right now, but we also have a generation of the least employed. Well, specifically Black youth in South Africa. If you are employed and earning a salary that back in the days would be earned by somebody who's uneducated, and you earn it because you are working in low-skill jobs, because jobs that you are supposed to get are just not available, or they are available but there are no funds to source them. Okay, back to the next segment. What is the sole cause of all of this inequality in South Africa? I think, in my view, the cause of all of this is greed. It is how people want to keep things for them. South Africa, the economy in South Africa functions solely, not the economy, but things in South Africa function solely on Uguti. Do you in this? If you're going to be getting access to things, you're getting them because they know that you complain a lot. So we'll keep electricity high on for you for longer, because we know that if we take it for longer than 2 hours, you will complain. It's a matter of who's speaking and who's not. You'll get a job in South Africa simply because you know somebody who's there. If you don't know them, or you're not affiliated in some way, you are unlikely to get it. It's very rare that you get jobs, you get opportunities if you do not know these people, or if they know that, or if sometimes it's obviously lack of uguti. Right now, there are genuine people in positions of which it's hardly, that are taking people for that are giving people opportunities or that are hiring people, it's hardly those. But in especially low-skilled jobs, people get in simply on connections. It's that simple, because there it's easy to put somebody who doesn't have a certain qualification and it will be justified. But so that's why to get into those jobs, it usually requires connections. And this keeps people in poverty. If you are born in poverty in South Africa, the likelihood of you getting out of it are very slim. Sometimes even if you are educated, you are so unlikely to get out of it, because the likelihood of staying in poverty in South Africa is higher than the likelihood of you actually getting out of poverty. Because I read one of the articles and it says that if you are not in poverty in South Africa right now, maybe the previous year you were in poverty. Poverty nje into yethu, because I'm not saying into yethu, I'm not claiming it for ourselves, but it's the reality of many of us because of how the whole society is functioning. The rich remain rich, they have remained rich, and they remain getting the opportunities because they are still very much connected to people that are in opportunities. Excuse me. And then those that are now getting into the opportunities will only pull up the people that are around them, and they will stay in opportunities. And if you are not lucky, I think it's luck. I always say in South Africa, you need luck if you are not well connected. If you are not well connected, you just need luck and grace, because you could be, I know the smartest people that graduated top of their classes, people that are not just book smart but are street smart, that are not getting jobs, ending up opening businesses because of making use of their skills of being street smart. But other than that, they're just not getting employment in South Africa because of how unequal and because of how connections work in South Africa. And you are smart, you are book smart, you are street smart, but you just don't know people that are in these places, that you are just not connected to people that that could help you advance in your way out of poverty. You are most likely, if obviously you don't use your skills of maybe opening a business and applying them and pushing yourself, and you just don't have luck, don't have those connections, you are likely to stay in poverty. And if you do not open businesses and do whatever, luck will get you as far. It will get you out. I mean, I was lucky to get articles. I was lucky to get a job after articles. And it was grace. Honestly, I always say, in as much as I'm not in a place that I want to be, but all of this has just been grace, luck, and things that I do not, that sometimes do not make sense to me, happened because of luck. Otherwise, if I did not have that luck, the dynamics of South Africa and on all the maths around everything strictly mean that I would have stayed in poverty because of how our society is set up. It's not like if we give an output of 10 students that are graduating, we have 10 opportunities open. Even if we have them in government institutions, for example, there's no money to hire them. That's why employees are overworked there. There are vacancies, but people are not hired because there's no money to pay for salaries of those vacant posts. That's just how sad and how things are remaining so unequal in South Africa. What also shocked me when I was speaking about how if you do not complain, you're going to get the worst of the worst in South Africa. I was looking at, I have an app, like right now, things are bad. We even have a Loadshedding app in South Africa. Things are really bad. Loadshedding means that you go on a period. It depends on which stage you are. You could go for 2 hours without electricity in the day. You could go for 4 hours, or you could go for 6, sometimes 8. Where I'm from, it's never usually just 2 hours a day. If it's going to be 2 hours every other place where it's not rural, where it's not mostly black people living there, you are likely to get 6 hours of with no electricity, and there will be no explanation, there will be no accountability. You just have no electricity for 6 hours, and it's a norm. People have gases, people cook outside. It's just something that people have had to accept because of how the society is set up. Where do you complain? Because they're not going to listen to you. They don't even have a road. When you are home, we don't even have water since 2020. The last time we had water in our house tap, water, was when there was this, when COVID started, there was this, obviously, talks of water should be accessible to everyone. So water worked the next day for 2 days. Then it stopped, and then it worked for a whole week, and then it stopped. We were back to water tankers because why? There are tenders to supply water through water tankers, so we're not going to have water. Those are other things that keep South Africa in the state of inequality, because the rich want to remain rich, and they want to take even from the least of the societies. Even from the least of the societies. So we can't even have water. We already don't have electricity, but we also just don't have water simply because they are able to take water from us, and we can't do anything. What do we have that matters to them? Nothing. And then it's water. Then we had water. When were the local elections? Were they last year or that year? No, not 2021. I think it was end of 2020. We had water during that week. We voted, I think it was on a Thursday, but it was during the week. The following Monday, we didn't have water, and we did not have water from the day. Even during COVID, we had it for like a week, and then it stopped until election times. It was in November. I remember that elections were in November. And then it stopped. Yes, it was election time. It was 2020 November. And then we didn't have water until the following year. Not until the following year. We still don't have water. Right now, there's still no water. If you don't have the money to buy a water tank, you have to wait for the water tanker to deliver water, which sometimes doesn't deliver water for 2 weeks. And if you don't have that, you drink water with this ngomo, and that's how it remains if you are in poverty. And you are not able to buy a water tanker. And water tankers are incredibly expensive right now because of supply, because of demand, especially in the South Coast, because our municipality just doesn't work in the South Coast. Just doesn't work. We don't have it. It's broken. I don't know. Especially the water supply there. It's not just us, it's everywhere. It's almost everywhere. Even in areas that are in suburbs, there is water, but they do have a lot of sheds as well. But they can afford to get water tanks. What about people in our societies that cannot even afford to buy a tank? What happens to them? They remain very sickly because of amanzamabi, omvula, emvula. They remain imizimba yabo ingacacile ngaleyo ndlela because of how the economy is set up for them. And that's not fair, but it's how we are living, and it goes back to the point of Uguti. If you are poor, you are likely to remain there because of how the society just functions. You are just left there, nobody cares. If you cannot push yourself enough, but it's not even a matter of pushing yourself, because we push ourselves. If you are not lucky enough, I guess, you are likely to stay there. So, yeah, I'm shook. I think I've spoken enough of absolutely just me venting. I'll link a few articles that I read before posting this so that you get more sense of what I'm speaking about. I'm also going to be publishing my blog about this on Wednesday next week, so have a look out of it. And I don't know what must change. That's my final question on this. What must change? What must change is how we all have access to the economy, how democracy works, how this thing of equality works. It only works for, I don't know who. It only works for abantu who are able to. When this thing of, let's speak about tenders for a moment. When this thing of tenders, they said they're giving people with businesses. But somebody, ohlale qabane, with no access to internet, very little access to even network, and no 500 rand to pay to somebody to open a business for them, so they can't do it online themselves because of no internet and very little network. Where do they get money to open a business when they don't even know that they could go to places like SEDA, because that's available online, and that's only if it's not online, we have to go into the town, and the bigger town, which is Potchefstroom. But you don't, where do you get money to get there? And no, but you're not just going to get in town and think about SEDA, no. Because one would argue that there are organizations like SEDA that are available for one to open these things for free. But where do you know about these things when you don't have access to the internet? Where do you know about this when you don't have access to the network? When even the radio stations don't play properly in your area because there is just no network? Where do you get that information? So why is it so hard? And why are things that are meant to help us so hard to access for Gutina that are at the back of the line? Trevor Noah said it. It said that when things go bad, it goes even worse for a black person, especially a black woman. Says when things go bad, when petrol is expensive, when there's no electricity, when there's no water in water supply, the person that are gonna get it the worst are going to be black, and mostly black females. And it's a reality, and it hurts to know that that's the reality that we have. How do we fix it? Comment down below and share ideas of how do we actually change this, and share your thoughts on this garbage that I've just said. I said a whole lot of things. I don't even think there was a sequence, but pretty sure there's going to be a sequence when I write it down in the blog. All right, with that said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video. And also follow my blog. I'll link I'll link the blog below, and I'll also link the blog. I'll also share it on my community once I've published the blog. With that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.